Look at these lights. You might think they're just beautiful cities at Christmas time. Bright streets, golden lit squares, towering Christmas trees in the heart of winter. But here's the thing. What makes Christmas different isn't what you see, it's what you feel. Behind every place you're looking at is a hidden tradition, one powerful enough to completely change the way Christmas feels, even if you thought you already knew it well. In one place, Christmas smells like mulled wine and freshly baked pastries, shaped by winter markets that have existed for centuries. Somewhere else, Christmas has no snow at all, yet it's still vibrant, loud, and filled with collective energy. And in other places, Christmas isn't a religious celebration. It becomes light, romance, a way for people to find warmth through a long winter. Now, ask yourself, if you strip away the familiar images, remove the patterns repeated every year, what truly creates the spirit of Christmas? On this journey, we'll travel to 10 places around the world where Christmas is nothing like you expect. Not to rank which place looks better, not to search for a perfect destination, but to feel how each city lives Christmas in its own way, shaped by history, climate, culture, and the emotions of the people who call it home. And when this journey ends, you might realize something surprising. The most beautiful Christmas isn't tied to a place. So where does it live? Because Christmas doesn't have just one face. And the beauty of the season isn't about which place shines the brightest. To understand that, we need to look at Christmas in a different way. In this video, we're not searching for the most beautiful Christmas place. Instead, we'll move through 10 cities, each one representing a different Christmas spirit, not as a travel checklist, but as an emotional journey, where every city becomes a story, not just a frame. Some places carry the atmosphere of old Europe, where warm golden lights and winter markets have existed for centuries. Other cities are large and modern, where Christmas is shaped by light, speed, and urban energy. And there are places where Christmas exists without snow, yet still feels warm enough to bring entire communities together. This journey will take us from Vienna, Prague, London, and Copenhagen to global icons like New York and Paris, and unexpected contrasts such as Tokyo and Singapore. Each stop is not just a visual moment, but a small story about how people there experience the season. When you place these styles side by side, something becomes clear. Christmas doesn't follow a single template. It's shaped by history, climate, collective memory, and the way each place creates warmth during winter. We'll begin in a place many consider the cradle of European Christmas. A city where the earliest winter markets helped shape how the world celebrates Christmas. Vienna at Christmas doesn't try to impress. The city simply glows, quietly. Warm golden lights settle over historic squares. Church bells echo softly through the cold air, and slow footsteps move across stone streets that have existed for centuries. At Rathausplatz, you're standing inside one of the oldest Christmas settings in Europe. Since the late 13th century, Vienna's winter markets have emerged as a blend of ancient winter festivals and early Catholic rituals still taking shape at the time. From Central Europe, the image of Christmas, lights, baked goods, and mulled wine became the template for an entire continent, and later, for many places around the world. That's why Christmas in Vienna feels so distinct, fairy tale-like, restrained, and like a memory retold faithfully each year. If there's one moment worth holding on to, it's standing still in the square, a warm cup of mulled wine in your hands, letting the city slowly guide you back through time. But move just a short distance away from Vienna, and the Christmas spirit shifts completely. And that's when the atmosphere changes. Leaving Vienna behind, we step into Prague, where Christmas takes on a darker, more Gothic tone. If Vienna tells Christmas like a fairy tale, Prague whispers it through shadow. Narrow cobblestone streets, Gothic towers rising into cold mist, and lights reflecting off wet stone slow everything down here. Christmas feels deeper, more restrained. At Old Town Square, the season still carries medieval rituals that have endured for centuries. It was here, in Central Europe, that the Christmas tree spread widely in the 16th century, becoming the symbol we recognize today. But in Prague, that symbol isn't about spectacle. It's about contemplation. Christmas in Prague doesn't invite you into a crowd. It invites you to stop. Standing in the square, listening to bells echo across ancient rooftops, you begin to sense something different. Christmas isn't always bright. Sometimes, it settles quietly into silence. But as you leave Prague, that spirit shifts once again towards something far more modern and far more energetic. And if you think Christmas can only be quiet and dark like Prague, London will surprise you. A city that turns the season into a festival of light and energy. When Christmas arrives in London, it doesn't whisper, it lights up. Lights stretch across major streets. Shop windows glow along shopping avenues, and crowds move together in an unbroken festive rhythm. But London's modern Christmas isn't created by light alone. In the 19th century, the Victorian era reshaped how Britain celebrated Christmas, turning it into a holiday of family, togetherness, and generosity. The stories of Charles Dickens carried that spirit far beyond Britain, becoming a template for Christmas celebrations across much of the world. From that point on, Christmas was no longer just a tradition. It became an image, something that could be retold, repeated, and shared everywhere. Today, you can still feel that spirit, from the creativity of Carnaby Street to the energy of winter wonderland in the heart of the city. Christmas in London is a celebration of movement, fast, bright, and filled with energy. It's a Christmas of crowds, of urban light, and of emotions shared together. And now, leaving London's noise and brightness behind, we arrive in Copenhagen, where Christmas is felt through warmth, quiet, and the gentle calm of Hygge. When Christmas arrives in Copenhagen, everything seems to slow down. There are no miles of glowing boulevards, no surging festival crowds. Instead, there's soft light, warm windows, and a distinctly Nordic sense of closeness. The Danes call this feeling Hygge, a kind of warmth created from the smallest things. During the long, dark winter, Hygge becomes Copenhagen's way of facing the cold. Not with spectacle, but with candlelight, warm drinks, and time spent together. At Tivoli Gardens, one of the world's oldest amusement parks, founded in 1843, Christmas doesn't perform, it invites you in. Along Nijhan, holding a warm cup of gløgg, you begin to understand why Christmas in Copenhagen doesn't need to be big. It only needs to be close. If London stretches Christmas across an entire city, Copenhagen gently folds it inward, just enough for people gathered around the same light. Christmas here doesn't try to be grand. It chooses to remain in very small moments, where warmth is created by light, shared heat, and the presence of people sitting together. And right after that, the story moves beyond the city. We head north, to a place where Christmas returns to its most primal legend, Lapland. In Lapland, Christmas doesn't begin with lights. It begins with silence. Snow-covered forests stretch to the horizon, the vast openness of the Arctic Circle, and northern skies where light itself becomes rare and precious. In this landscape, Christmas doesn't need decoration. Nature has already done the work. Lapland has long been associated with the place where the legend of Santa Claus took shape. The roots of that legend trace back to Saint Nicholas in the 4th century, a symbol of generosity and compassion. Over time, Lapland was imagined into a global Christmas symbol. But here, the legend is not loud. It lives in the stillness of snow, in the northern light, and in the quiet awareness of human smallness against an immense natural world. Standing in Lapland, you don't just experience a holiday. You experience a story told by nature itself, without words. But that legend is not the final destination. Leaving Lapland behind, Christmas enters a completely different world, one reimagined through the rhythm of modern life. Tokyo. Tokyo doesn't have a snowy Christmas, but in December, the city still lights up. Millions of lights cover entire boulevards, shopping districts turn into oceans of illumination, and winter nights glow with a city that never sleeps. Here, Christmas isn't tied to churches or rituals. It's felt as a romantic moment, a date, a warm dinner, a reason for light to speak instead of words. Christmas arrived in Japan in the late 19th century, along with Western cultural influence. But Tokyo never copied it exactly. Instead, the city reshaped the season in its own way, turning Christmas into a festival of light, driven by emotion and modern urban rhythm. Christmas cakes, neon-lit streets at night, and a distinctly Tokyo sense of anticipation create a Christmas spirit unlike anywhere else in the world. In Tokyo, Christmas doesn't tell an ancient story. It tells the story of the present, where people find emotion between artificial light and constant motion. And then, the rhythm shifts once again. Christmas returns to a classical kind of romance, where emotion is lit in a very different way. Paris. Paris enters Christmas not with noise, but with light. Golden lights stretch along the Champs-Élysées, reflecting off historic facades, slowing the entire city by a single beat. The Eiffel Tower doesn't need grand decoration, simply standing there. It holds the emotional rhythm of a Paris winter. In smaller squares, Christmas markets appear as warm points of light, where the scent of baked goods and mulled wine blends into the early winter air. Few people realize that France's Christmas market tradition began in the Alsace region in the 16th century, where Central European culture blended with the French spirit, creating a style both historic and refined. Christmas in Paris doesn't try to impress. It chooses to linger in emotion. If Tokyo uses light to tell the story of the present, Paris uses light to preserve emotions that have lived on for generations. Walk through the Tuileries garden at night, when lights reflect off gravel paths, and Paris becomes a winter melody made of light. This is Christmas as classical romance, refined, unhurried, and unmistakably Paris. But from that deeply personal romance, Christmas expands into a global symbol, one the entire world associates with a single city, New York. New York doesn't just celebrate Christmas, it turns it into an icon. Between towering skyscrapers, the Rockefeller Center tree rises like a central stage, a place the world looks toward every winter. Along Fifth Avenue, storefront windows become light exhibitions, where Christmas is told through movement, imagination, and spectacle. Central Park slips into a rare stillness, a quiet pause inside the city that never sleeps. Few people realize the Rockefeller tree first appeared in the 1930s, during the Great Depression, a symbol of hope for New Yorkers long before it became America's defining Christmas image. From there, the New York version of Christmas spread through films, television, and the shared memories of millions of families worldwide. Christmas in New York no longer belongs to one city. It becomes something collective. Stand beneath the Rockefeller tree as the lights switch on. A moment meant not just for New York, but for the world. This is the peak of modern Christmas imagery. Large, bright, and unmistakably global. And just as Christmas reaches that symbolic peak, the story shifts direction, leaving winter behind, moving toward a place with no snow, no cold, yet still filled with light. Singapore. Singapore welcomes Christmas not with snow, but with light. In the tropical air, Orchard Road transforms into a glowing LED corridor where Christmas is built through technology and imagination. There are no heavy coats, no white breath in the air, yet the festive rhythm still moves through the city. Christmas in Singapore mirrors its multicultural society, where different communities share one holiday season. Less about religion, more about connection. Few people realize that this post-colonial cultural blend shaped Christmas here into a community celebration rather than a religious ritual. Modern, open, and adaptable. A Christmas dinner on a rooftop, looking down at a city glowing with light, while winter exists only on the calendar. Christmas here doesn't need snow to exist. It needs light and people. And from this place, without winter, the journey leads us back to real snow and an old world Christmas preserved, almost untouched. On the other side of the world, where winter truly settles over the city, Christmas returns to white snow, historic streets, and intact European memory. Quebec City. Quebec City welcomes Christmas with real snow, ancient stone, and stillness. Snow-covered cobblestone streets, old fortified walls, and Chateau Frontenac rise like a remaining fragment of Europe in the heart of North America. Here, winter isn't the backdrop, it's the main character. Sub-zero temperatures, heavy snowfall, and the frozen St. Lawrence River create a Christmas that doesn't need to be staged. Few people realize that Quebec preserves this spirit through its French heritage from the 17th and 18th centuries, where language, architecture, and Christmas traditions have been passed down across generations without being diluted. A Christmas dinner overlooking Chateau Frontenac as snow falls slowly and the city settles into warm, golden light. Christmas in Quebec doesn't need explanation. It's felt. Because Christmas sometimes isn't found in the places we pass through, but in something that quietly stays with us. And one simple question remains: where does the most beautiful Christmas truly live. After 10 cities, 10 climates, and 10 very different ways of celebrating Christmas, it's time to slow down for a moment and look back at the journey as a whole. In some places, Christmas feels like a European fairy tale, shaped by snow-covered legends. In others, Christmas shines brightly within modern city life, becoming a global symbol. There is Christmas defined by warm hygge, by classical romance, and even by snowless tropical nights. But what truly matters does not lie in the differences. It lies in the reasons behind how people celebrate Christmas. And when you see these cities as stories, not simply as destinations, you begin to understand why the same season can carry so many different emotions. Some places create warmth through history, traditions that have endured for centuries. Others create warmth through memory, images that have become shared symbols. And some places create